Today's guest is Markus Kaulius, an entrepreneur, investor, author, and founder of Five Talent Capital. After building multiple successful businesses, he's dedicated his life to helping leaders build wealth, purpose, and legacy through faith, service, and intentional leadership. In today's conversation, we'll cover entrepreneurship, faith, parenting, identity, and living a life of lasting impact. Markus Kaulius, welcome to the Operator Podcast.
Ethan, thanks for having me, brother. Thanks for the beautiful intro. And when you just described everything we're going to talk about, I'm like, hey, I want to listen to this podcast. This sounds like it's going to be a good conversation. I'm in.
Glad to hear it. So let's get started. So if someone is listening, let's say is 10 years old, what would be 3 pieces of advice that I would give him or her?
A 10-year-old, this is pretty early in life. Are they already thinking business or
just getting started, regular kid?
Okay, just getting started. Wow. You don't have to know everything at this age. This would be a big one for me. Go all in on whatever you're doing, whatever it is. I don't care if you don't know if it's something you love yet or not. I did this a lot with my 10-year-olds. Like, well, I'll try volleyball. I'm like, wonderful. Just try it, but go all in. Yeah. So don't do it just, let's see how this goes. If you're going to do it, go all in so you really learn if you like it or not. And I would ask them, have you ever played a game, but you weren't really into it? You were just trying it on the sideline and you don't really know if you even enjoyed it because you were halfway in, halfway out? I think we've all experienced that, even at a young age. I used to do that all the time. When I would play basketball and I would just play halfway, I never had a good time. I often got injured and stuff like that. But if I went all in and I played hard, I was like, I freaking love this game. If you can learn that at a young age, it will do you so much good later in life, because the people who didn't learn it are the ones who today, they go to their job and they're like, I'll do halfway and let's see what happens. You don't learn anything. You don't enjoy it. You don't connect with your other teammates. Your bosses aren't happy. Lose, lose, lose. Yeah. You go all in, even if it's something you don't enjoy and you're going to pivot later. You learn so much and you really understand if you enjoy that path or not. And then I guess the final thing would be listen to your parents. And you get to decipher how wise they are, but listen to them. At 10, you shouldn't be arguing with your parents at this point. It's not going to do you any good. You're not going to get anywhere. Learn what you can and go with their flow.
That's great. So to put a point on what you said, one thing I like to highlight is taking action. One thing that a lot of Gen Z struggle with is, I have this great idea, but I'm hesitant to do it. What I found works is taking that thought and decreasing the time frame of thought to action. Let's say someone's thought to action is 5 years. How would you suggest someone to bring that down to seconds?
Oof. Wow, that's really good. Good question. And by the way, great takeaway. I'm all about taking action. I think this is a missing piece for every age group. People aren't taking action enough. You have to take action to learn stuff. So 5 years is wonderful to think that far out. But yeah, ask yourself, what can I do today to put me on that path? One of the most dangerous things about 5 years, if I said to you, Ethan, where do you want to be in 5 years? You give me a beautiful answer. And it's like, well, what do you have to do today? I mean, have to do today to get there? The answer is nothing. It's 5 years. Like, if you give yourself 5 years, you're probably going to start moving towards it in about 3.5 to 4 years. So you definitely need to shorten that timeline. What if you said, okay, I want to make major strides towards that in the next 3 months? What do I have to do today? And there's such beauty in that question, because you're going to get answers that you did not see coming. Like, whoa, I only have 90 days to make a move on this thing. I need to start doing this, this, and this, and I need to do it every single day. Oof, that's the answer I like.
I want to give you a scenario because I always enjoy making these podcasts fun compared to professional for the most part.
Okay,
Let's
rock and roll.
say there is a student. He just graduated high school. He's probably between the ages of 17 to 19. And what he's struggling with the most is shiny object syndrome. He
Mm,
has dozens of opportunities. Oh, what college should I go to? What place should I work at? And I know you mentioned like figure out a few things and do it, but of course, that's great. Why don't we put like one step deeper? What would be a few questions that you would ask them to figure out this is the exact game plan that I would like to do?
wow. By the way, these questions are so good and so challenging for me. Like the first one, I'm like, man, I rarely give advice to 10-year-olds.
I
So
love
wow.
throwing out curveballs.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I can tell that about you. Okay, so you've just graduated. How to help you get on your path? I would ask you, first question would be write down 5 to 10 things that really excite you in life. I'm not saying professions, just things that excite you in life. This is going to start opening a couple of windows into your mind. So I love basketball. I love video games. I love spending time with my friends. I love swimming. Like you have to go a little bit deeper, especially to get to 10. I think I'd say you got to get to 10 minimum. Now you're like, okay, well, those were the obvious ones. And now you pick a few more. Well, I like watching Shark Tank with my dad. You see? And now
Mhm.
you start going, what kind of studies could I do that would move me on any of these paths that I really love? If you choose a path that you just right from the get-go, someone from the outside could look at you and go, why did you choose nursing when you've said nothing to do with nursing? No, basketball, I heard business, I heard spending time with friends and family, I heard swimming. Why nursing? Well, it just seems like a blah, blah, blah. It's like, I wouldn't bet on that person to stick with nursing. That might sound obvious, but I don't think it is. And I don't think a lot of people are actually acting on what I just said. So find something on a path that you already love, and this might lead to something.
That's great. Let's say they implemented what you just outlined. What would be the next step?
Take action on it. Take action like today. So here would be my next step. Find somebody, anybody who's been on this path and have a conversation with them. So the first place I would go, I'd go to mom and dad and be like, hey, do you know anyone who, so let's just take business school. Let's say business school was the other, maybe I'm going to try business school. Like marketing is kind of interesting to me. Okay, cool. Hey, mom and dad, do you know anyone who went to business school or who knows marketing, went to school for marketing? Guarantee they're going to know somebody, or they're like, I don't, but I know Joe, our friend, has a business and he's a businessman, so you might want to talk to him. But I think his son is going to university for whatever. Wonderful. Can you find out if I can have a conversation with them?
Mm.
Can we have them over here? Can I go buy them coffee? Just have a 45-minute conversation and come with 10 questions to ask them. Do you like what you do? What do you like most about what you do? What excites you? Where are you going? Where did you come from? Those kind of questions. The one caveat I'm going to say is this, and I think you and I are going to have a conversation at some point about mentors. Don't just take everything that person says at face value. And here's why. First, and this is going to be weird for me to say because this is not really my style to say this, you get to judge them just a little bit. And what I mean by that is you look them up and down, you look at them, you look at their life. Is this a life that you are liking what you're seeing? Like, I wouldn't mind following this guy's path. Seems like he's got his crap together. Saw his girlfriend, she's hot. Okay. Do you see what I'm getting at? Where you go, okay, this is a guy I actually would listen to. Or if he's like, he seems like he doesn't have his crap together, not dating anyone, not that that's super important, but it's just one of the things you might be considering. All these things, and you're like, yeah, I wouldn't really like to have this guy's life. Now you listen to what he says, and maybe you take some of it and go the opposite way. You get to be the decision maker in that. My key takeaway from that is don't just take everything at face value.
That's great. And I love your point when it comes to choosing what advice you learn from someone. So, for instance, what I call first is every person, everything is a lesson. It's just choosing the good lesson. So, for instance, if I was to take a lesson from you, it would be how to do this. But if it was to take someone off the street who's struggling, it's maybe say what not to do. The other thing, too, is I know you resonated for context for today's viewers. Jack Wagner recently had a podcast with Marcus. And one thing that I've been studying about the podcast game is what Chris Williamson calls unteachable lessons, which are lessons that everyone eventually has to learn, even if a mentor says 1,000 times, hey, do this, and they did the exact opposite. So, what was a point in time, Marcus, when you learned for yourself one unteachable lesson that everyone was saying, do this, but you made a mistake and then realized moving forward, I will do better?
Oh my goodness. I have about 1,000 that I could go over right now. I'm going to go with the way I hired people. You will hear billions of opportunities for advice on how to hire properly. I feel like it's one of those, you're going to screw up so much in the beginning anyway.
Yeah.
No matter how good the advice, no matter how much you're like, oh, that makes perfect sense. It's until you actually have to spend 8 hours a day times however many days with someone that you've hired that you're like, oh man, what the heck? What did I see in this person in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I've been, hiring people for 32 years or so now. And imagine all the ways I've been like, hey, there's another thing I got to write down. Next time I hire someone, it's going to look more like this. Here's a new filter to put them through. Here's new questions. Here's new thoughts. Here's new ways to interview. You're going to have to build that criteria on your own. That being said, don't ignore the advice. Maybe instead of 2 months to learn a lesson, it will take you 2 days because you heard it, you were looking for it, you recognized it. Maybe of the 10,000 pieces of advice, 8,000 actually sink in, so you don't have to learn those yourself. So I would take in a ton on that, but man, hiring was a zoo for me. Hey, and maybe it's just I struggled to learn. Maybe that was my slowest place to learn because I have really high standards for myself. And I think I impose those high standards on the people who I used to employ way too much.
So, out of everything that you just mentioned, what do you actually hire for? Do you hire their skill sets or their mindsets, and why?
Great question. I think mindset more than skill set. Skill set, most skills can be taught. I love to find people who are eager learners. Here's a new one that I just decided. My business partner Trey and I, we're going to be. You probably met Trey.
I did, yeah, he's great.
Everybody loves Trey. Where there's a Trey, there's a way. We're going to be hiring right now, and one of the new things I'm going to put is I'm going to want you to commit as you're applying. I'm going to say, are you willing to commit to holding Trey and I to a higher standard every single day? And what I'm actually asking is, I need you to commit to growing yourself every day so that you can teach us and grow us every day. If you aren't willing to commit to that, you're definitely the wrong person. And I'm going to hold you to that standard every single day. So yeah, you could lie to me in the interview and be like, oh yeah, I'll totally do that. And we're going to get 4 days in and I'm going to be like, bro, that's 4 days. You haven't been growing. This is going to be an easy conversation for me.
Yeah. For me, it's what I call the professional interviewer. People who've had all the experience. It's like, oh, I could do this. Oh, I can do this. And then when actually the time comes of, hey, check in. How's your progress? Looked at their dashboard, their metrics, their inputs, and nothing was there or not what even they said they were going to do.
Yeah.
So let's say someone is struggling with their mindset, even though they're a top performer in the past. Like there's the peaks and valleys, and they
Sure.
just hit a valley. Reason being was they swing like any extreme entrepreneur. They have something that gets their attention and they swing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth with all
Yeah.
that fun. So, what would you say to, let's say, a top performer who just had everything burn, crash down, recently filed for bankruptcy? What would be a few pieces of
Mm.
advice that you would tell that person?
Wow. Man, these are great questions, brother. These are really challenging. I'm going to encourage you to continue to grow your mindset through this. In
Mm,
fact, this is the greatest opportunity you've probably ever had to grow your mindset. It will take everything in your power to not wallow, to not fall victim. And you will be on some days, and give yourself some grace for that, but challenge yourself to go, I I can learn so much right now, and I am going to become a better version of myself at the end of this. I look at everything that we face in our lives as a gift from God. This can be extremely challenging when it's the hardest stuff, but the truth is, it's the hard stuff that is always the greatest gifts. If you look back on your life at your toughest challenges, you should be able to say, that's actually what made me the man I am today. If you haven't, pause right now. You've got work to do. You've got work to do. You should be talking to somebody, a counselor, a coach, a mentor who can help you find a way to see the gift in what you've gotten through.
mm.
Otherwise, you will fall victim to that your whole life. And being a victim gets you nowhere. For me, the toughest, crappiest stuff I was going through when I was young is the best stuff in me today. It is the reason I am the strong man, the strong father, husband I am today. It's because of that crap. Therefore,
Mm.
any challenge I face today, I know tomorrow I am going to look back fondly on. So
Yeah.
imagine how much better you enter that challenge, you face that challenge, a better attitude, a better mindset, thinking, knowing this is a gift from God.
To put a pin on what you said, and I know you love this, is mentorship. What I learned at Book Thinkers, or what I was reminded by, was everyone must have a mentor above and
Mm,
be additionally mentor people below.
mm.
Since you mentioned God, I want to hear kind of how your relationship is when you ask God for advice. Because one thing I personally struggle with is knowing if it's actually God speaking
Mm.
or it's my mind or some influence. Like, how do you determine that?
It's a beautiful question. Do you mind if I throw this back on you first? And I promise I'll answer after.
Sounds good.
If I said you actually already know these answers, give me your top 2 or 3 answers of how you know when it's God speaking to you.
Butterflies in my stomach. It's the first one.
Okay,
Doing the
that's
hard
great.
things even when you don't feel like it.
Great.
That would be the first. The second would be something that I believe not a lot of people talk about is butterflies in my stomach is like an input, right? Like what would be the actual thing for me to do? It's hard conversations, whether it's with a family member, whether it's with myself of, oh, you did this, what happened? Oh, you messed up here. Oh, you should have put in the work in here compared to this. So
Mm,
I would say would be the two things that I would personally determine to see if it's actually God speaking to me or it would be just some divine output. And then how do I define if it's like some external non-divine input would be some piece of advice that sounds great on the outside, but it's
mm.
not actually great in the inside. That
That's
would
really
be
good.
the answer to your question.
That's really good, brother. Okay, I'm going to take what you said and I'm going to line it up with my answer, because
Sounds good.
You do. You already have some of the signs that you know. First, when we say, I want to know if this is alignment with God, if God is the one speaking to me, you have to learn to recognize his voice. What do you think the best source of understanding God's voice and understanding God's character is?
I would say either the Bible or through others.
Really good. So I love both of those answers. I particularly love your first one, which is the Bible, because that's his love letter to us. All the answers are in there. The more time you spend in there, the more you are going to understand his voice and how he acts, his character. Now, the other part of your answer is also brilliant because it requires others to give me their version. The sermons that I listen to, the Bible studies, the conversations, those are really important because I'm not brilliant. I'm not perfect. I will misunderstand things. And when I hear somebody else who's been studying the Gospel of Luke for 20 years tells me, hey, this is what this means. And you go, oh my goodness, that is so much better than what I got out of it. Now, if you spend that time, and then there's one last answer is time in prayer. You know, we get so caught up in just like, hey, dear God, thank you so much for this food. Thanks for this day.
Amen.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Where is your real connection with God? Imagine having a human father and just once a day you go, hey, Dad, thanks for this house. Thanks for the food. Bye-bye. How long before you have no relationship at all? No talking to him the rest of the time. No listening to him. Just that's the only communication you have every day. Well, your relationship with this father is the same. He will be more loving and merciful than a human father. But the point is the point. It's like any other relationship. You got to spend some time with him. So in prayer, don't just be quick about it. Spend some time there. Here's a big one. Listen. Be quiet. Quiet up your mind. By the way, this is gold advice for calming down your spirit, calming your anxieties. We're go, go, go. We're filling, we're consuming. How about some quiet? And just listen and go, Holy Spirit, I'd love to hear your voice. Watch what happens. Things start to change. And you will start to recognize that seems more like God or that seems more like Marcus. And being able to filter it by, what would the Bible say about that? Like, I feel like I'm supposed to do this. What would the Bible say about that? Well, how will you know that unless you go to the Bible and know your Bible, right? So for me, to give the final answer there, my heart tells me a lot. God promises, and this is very much in alignment with your answer. When you talk about the butterflies, I think another way, and correct me if I'm wrong, another way to say what you're saying is you have peace in your gut. When you ask the tough questions and you still have peace, you go, that I think is God. And that's what God promises. You'll have peace in your decisions. I'm not saying the decisions will be easy. I'm not saying everything's going to go smooth now. And therefore, if there's a single bump in the road, it wasn't God. No. But when I'm making a big decision and I check on my gut, I check on my heart and I go, this aligns with what God says. This aligns with his word. And I actually kind of feel peace about it. It feels like my heart, maybe he's put the desires on my heart. Then I know it's God.
That's phenomenal. One thing that I like hearing whenever it comes to any relationship with God, etc., is the saying that says, I asked for patience. He gave me time to test my patience. I asked for love. He gave me time to test my love.
Amen.
And I think that's amazing. I want to put a pin on divine mentorship for a little bit more, and then we can transition to more of a physical, like more of like a business mentorship, if that's something that you're okay with.
Totally.
So for me, of course, for context, Marcus and I met at Book Thinkers, and one of the other guest speakers was a person named John Lee, who has, for context, millions of followers across all platforms, AI, business. So spoke on stages with Tony Robbins, amazing guy. And additionally went to like the mastermind later on, which is fairly decent, as I say. So one thing that I did with basically every guest speaker that I wanted to speak with, and I did it with you, Marcus, was once you're done speaking, I walked from the auditorium area to the back and then literally just said, hey, can I get a photo? Hey, I have a question. Hey, let's do this, or let's get on a podcast, etc. And the thing that I did with John Lee was I said, I don't want to tell you that I'm going to be your best student. I want to show you.
Nice.
And what he told me was create like an AI avatar Instagram page, get it to 1 million like plus views, and then monetize it. The day of that to the next event was 2 days. I did the inputs. Of course, I didn't get the millions of views, but it's still the inputs that are necessary for you to get to the outputs, your desired state. So when it comes to you, Marcus, who's the mentor that you look up to the most when it comes to a physical space?
Wow. Awesome. Before I answer that, can I highlight a couple things you just said that I just think are
Of
profound?
course.
Anybody listening, there's two big things that just stood out to me. One, Ethan, after each speaker, went straight up to them, asked to take a picture, and said, I'm going to reach out to you. How many said no, Ethan?
Well, all of them said yes to a picture. Whoever, of course, was next up. So, like, have a few questions. Hey, let's get on a podcast. Hey, let's talk about your offer since I think right now your content doesn't reflect the level of your expertise. So, more of like a social media marketing pitch. But for the asks that I did, I only got 2 to 3 no's max, but it was still like a picture, a very quick conversation, etc. So, one thing I'll like to say for today's audience, and then Marcus, feel free to jump in, is literally it's not that hard when it comes to what this person, this celebrity, as I say in the business space, like they're humans too.
Yep.
You can just regularly have a human conversation. You don't want to be like, oh my gosh, I want to get a picture with you. You're my hero. Of course, they could be your hero, but you want to not put them on a pedestal. You want
Brilliant.
to have the exact same playing field in conversation, just being humans. Let's be human for a second, as I usually say.
Brother, so valuable. And I just know people listening are going, well, I wouldn't do that. I've never been able to do that. I'd be scared to do that. What are you scared of? You scared of some no's? Who cares about the no's? If you got one yes out of how many people did you probably ask? 30, 35 people?
I didn't ask all of them, but I asked at least a dozen.
At least a dozen. And you got a couple no's. Who cares about the no's, by the way? Forget about them. You got like 9 or 10 yeses. One yes is all that actually matters. And if you can learn to get over yourself and get over your ego of like, I'm so scared of rejection. Rejection is maybe one of the greatest gifts to you that could possibly come. Because if you think you're not going to get rejected in life, you are so sheltered. You have been brought up so wrong, and this world has done you a great disservice. You are going to be rejected over and over. So get over it. And look at where Ethan is today. He had a whole bunch of people say yes. John Lee's a freaking stud. To be able to have conversations with him is insane. So that was number one. Number two, I love what you said. And by the way, I used to say this to every one of my university professors. Feel free, everybody, to steal this. But if you're going to, you better take action on what you say. You have to be a person of integrity. If you are not a person of integrity, do not say these things. You will look extra foolish. I went up to every one of my university professors, introduced myself at the end of the first class, and I said, my name is Markus Kaulius. I'm going to be your best student. And I'm not just saying that. I am going to do all the work it requires to be your best student. And I would like to open up some accountability that if you see anything I could be doing better, please tell me because I will do it. You said something so similar to John Lee, but the most important thing, you took action on it within those 2 days to show him what you give me. If you give me any advice, you give me any scraps, I will do them instantly. The worst thing people do, and the world, unfortunately, is 9 out of 10, if not like 99 out of 100. Oh, hey, Marcus, do you have advice for me? I give you advice and I go, let me know in 48 hours. Crickets. And if I happen to see that person within 48 hours, hey, how's that going? Well, I had this and I've got this and I've got this excuse and this other excuse. And it's like, you're not going anywhere. And then that person goes, well, can you give me more? And I go, no.
That's great.
With all due respect, I have mercy for people. But if you aren't willing to do the first thing I offered, like the very first time I gave you a gift and you're like, not a gift for me. Can I have another gift? Why would I waste my time giving you another gift? You take the gift, you do something with it, and you come back and you go, I just wanted you to know I was so grateful for that gift. You didn't have to give me that gift. I was so grateful that I did something with it.
That's amazing. And I appreciate you jumping in and giving the viewers advice specifically on the story that I just provided. The second thing that I want to mention is what I want to do is to give the viewers a little bit more of how Markus operates internally, of like what's actually going on in his head. I believe it was you or someone else at Book Thinkers that mentioned if you have that super uniformed, super protected style, like it's better to be, I think, poor and upbringing. Was that you? Compared to like having a super comfortable life and then you're struggling? Was that you or is that someone else?
I don't think that was me. I understand what's being said and I respect it and I agree with it, but please share a bit more and I'm happy to talk about it.
Yeah. So for you, when you are just, let's say, about to go on stage, what are some specific things that you do to help you have success on that stage?
Great question. And for anybody listening who's like, I'm not going to step on stage, so I don't need to listen to this answer. It's not about stepping on stage. You step on stage every day of your life. That is your stage. Do you want to show up as close to a 10 out of 10 as possible? Or are you okay with like, oh, today I'm a 6. Let's see how it goes. Let me tell you, those people who say I'm willing to show up as a 6, you are going to be just like everybody else. Do you not see the results those people are getting? They are all living absolutely mediocre lives. That is the choice you are making. I choose the other way. I want to show up as close to 10 out of 10 as possible. And there are really pretty easy things to do. Now, it will take time and you have to create habits around what I'm about to say. And you have to learn, why are you doing it? You have to have a strong why. But I get myself in state. I like to say I turn myself on. I know it's kind of weird, but you'll remember it now.
I have a very similar thing. It's what I call 0 to 100% sales mode. And whenever in a conversation is 0% is just like me being a normal human. And then the 100% is me laughing my head off, being super articulate, amazing eye contact. It's what like, it's called like super, what some people call like social lubrication, where you purposely laugh right before you do a meeting, presentation, multiple times, and your brain doesn't know the difference. So the brain injects happy hormones. I don't know the exact technical term, and you are literally what I call the pit bull fireball, and will be rocking and rolling since then.
That's awesome. So laughing is such a beautiful way to do this. I like to take about 3 to 5 minutes before any call, before I start my day. I have a longer process, but before every single call, before an interview, anything like that, 3 to 5 minutes I spend in gratitude. So that's just being thankful, visualizing all the things I'm grateful for in my life. Just go through them one by one and go, man, am I grateful for that? Man, am I grateful for that? I grab 1 or 2 of my favorite memories, and I have tons. I reload them. Just go through the memory. Actually play it out in your mind. See it happening like it's happening right now. Just like you said, Ethan, your brain doesn't know the difference. It actually thinks it's happening right now. Imagine experiencing some of your favorite moments in life every single day. Of course, you will be a happier person. Of course, you will be a more grateful person. So when you do that for 3 to 5 minutes before an important call, interview, whatever it is, think of the difference. You could be having a rough day, like, it's not the best day here. Spend it 3 to 5 minutes and it's like, life's pretty great.
Yeah.
This is how I want to show up. And will everybody like me showing up this way? Of course not. I'm not for everybody. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and that's totally okay with me. But the people who like this really like this and are
Yep.
drawn to this. And now I can make deep connection because this is the real me. I don't even like when I'm this guy. That's not fun. If you think
Mhm.
that's fun, man, get your head shaken. This is way more fun. Like, I appreciate life. I respect life. I'm grateful for the stuff going on around me. And then, of course, I get more of it because I'm looking for it.
That's great. Another thing too is what I found is listening to music. So let's give me just a random fun 30-second quick back and forth is what songs do you listen to? Because for me, I used to be a cold caller about a year and a half ago. And for whatever I told people, because I mentored a few people as well when it comes to the SDR AE approach, is people are probably gonna have success if you're going to be a cold caller or a person who does door-to-door sales. Reason why: rejection, rejection, and then let's just say rejection again. And for me, my two songs were Smooth Operator by Sade, I believe that's what it's called,
Yep.
and then Master of Puppets by
Oh,
Metallica.
isn't it Sade?
Sade, something along the lines of that. But that aside, so what are some songs that you enjoy listening to get you in that 10 out of 10 mindset and stage of your life?
It's a great call, and music is such a great influence on your state, on your heart rate, on your mindset. I'm all in on EDM.
Mm,
Now, I also use worship music because I love the message of worship music. It puts me in that beautiful state to be connected with God. But man, EDM just gets me fired up. The beats and just like, yes, let's
yeah,
go. And just I'm ready to go. So especially when after I've had my cold tub and I'm jumping in the shower, I got EDM going,
yeah.
and now the body's moving, and it's like, oh, I'm ready to hit this day hard.
Mm. What I used to do, because another thing that I believe is super powerful is what I call, or everyone calls, hedonic adaptation.
Mm.
Do you know, are you familiar with that?
I don't
It's
think I am.
You're probably familiar with the concept then, not the
Yes.
exact term, is you become where you like surroundings. So for instance, there's this quote by Elon Musk. It says, I'm used I'm used to myself, but if you had my brain for a day, you would be dead. Just because of how high standards you have. So we've talked a lot about mentorship, business, advice. We've talked about divine. We talked about how you mentor people. But I want to put a pin a little bit into mentorship and your family.
Mm.
Let's say if everything was gone from you, Marcus, and in the next 60 seconds, you had to leave a message to your daughter and the rest of your family, what would that message be? And why, once you're done explaining that, what made you say those things specifically?
Okay, really cool. Lead with love and gratitude. If you lead with love and gratitude, so many more doors are going to open for you. So many more people are going to be wanting to be connected to you, will be magnetized to you, drawn to you. You are going to experience so much more success in life. And I'm not just meaning like money and jobs and all these things. I mean, success is in like fulfillment. Like,
Mm,
I really enjoy it because I love what I'm doing. I love the people I'm doing it with. I'm super grateful for everything coming my way. And when I see someone coming at me with gratitude and it's like really ingrained in them, I love those people and I want them to succeed. And if I can help them succeed, I'm going to. So there's my quick pitch. And I mean, I already sort of answered the why.
yeah.
But the other piece of that why is it will you'll do no wrong when you lead with love and gratitude. And the right people, the people who also lead with love and gratitude are going to be so drawn to you. And the negative people, the wrong people in this world are going to be repelled. Slash, you're going to recognize them for who they are. It's amazing as I keep moving on this path of love and gratitude. it's amazing to me how this happens. Like,
Yeah.
wow, I might have actually wanted to hang out with that person when I was younger. I can't imagine, like, that seems horrible to me. Like, they're just nowhere near love and gratitude. They're about what can you do for me, and money, 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 and all those things. And then these people have these beautiful hearts are drawn to me, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I get to hang out with you. That's amazing. I feel great when I'm around you. It's win, win, win.
I want to make this a little bit more deeper because when I had a podcast with Jack Wagner, I asked him this type of question and he absolutely loved it. It's this for you, Marcus. What's a question nobody has asked you on a podcast that you wish someone would?
Holy moly. Whew. Do you mind if we let my brain work on that for a moment and then we come back to it?
That's completely fine.
I think I will come up with
I was about to throw you another heavy hitter, but I can give you...
Go ahead and throw another heavy hitter. My
All right, I'll give you...
subconscious will work on that question for a moment.
Totally fine. So let's say you're... What I've heard, like Alex Ramosi, what he typically does is like future environment himself. Let's say he speaks to the Alex Ramosi who's like 65, 75 years old. So let's say, imagine you're speaking to your 85-year-old self. What would be the question that you know he will ask you in your current state?
Do you think you could have done more? And he already knows the answer is yes. And really lovingly, why didn't you? That's it.
That's perfect. And that's, I think, one of the great takeaways of any great message like yours, Marcus. What is one question that you wish someone would ask you but never has?
I think people have asked similar questions, but never really directly, why is fitness so important to you? And I think it impacts everything. Fitness is a must. It's a prerequisite for me. And I love what my body can do. And I don't think I have the best body on the planet. It's not about that. But my body's amazing. What it's capable of, how it heals from things. I don't get sick, like, ever. That's insane to me. I'm so grateful for that. But I have to put in the work. I have to put in it's not just the exercise. It's not just how much I love walking or doing cardio. I love eating correctly. Like, I love eating the right foods. It's what makes me the businessman I am. If I didn't eat right, if I don't get my exercise, I know I don't sleep right. I know I don't have the right energy. I don't have the right confidence. I don't look as good in the suits. And I will not enter this world as I know I could. And so I want to show up as the best version of me every single day. And fitness is like paramount.
Health is wealth. Wealth is health.
Amen.
That has been the Operator Podcast with your guest, Markus Kaulius. Appreciate you a ton, man.
Brother, you're killing it. Appreciate you. And you are going to help a lot of people. Thanks for letting me be part of it.